This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Hello everybody, glad you could make it. My name is Kaylee Ellen and welcome to today's video. I'm going to get straight into it. We're talking about plants that used to be expensive and now they're pretty cheap. I did one of these videos maybe 2 years ago. I don't actually know why I didn't do one last year. I don't know. Did I do one last year? I don't know. Anyway, not important. So I've made a list of some plants this year. I was going to order them in terms of price, but again, things differ just too much from country to country. So I'm just going to go through. They're not in any order. One plant that used to be pretty expensive but is now quite cheap is, surprisingly, the Monstera Burle Marx Flame. Now then. I knew something was coming, and I think I mentioned this possibly in a New Year's video or something like that. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but when I still had my shop, I had loads of suppliers literally like hammering the DMs, basically trying to sell me Monstera Burle Marx Flame for very cheap, guys. Very, very cheap. We're talking probably baby plants, don't get me wrong, for literally like a couple of dollars per plant. And I thought, that's odd. Now, normally, Thailand and Indonesia, wherever, they don't usually do that all of a sudden unless they know something. And I didn't buy them. Because I thought, hey, you're doing this for a reason. You know something. So there's a pro tip if you have a shop, by the way. If you all of a sudden start getting offers for stuff really cheap, be prepared to sell that on for really, really cheap. And I hope you get rid of them and you do well, because it usually means they know something. Otherwise, they wouldn't let them go that cheap, right? So I'm guessing they knew this was coming through whatever means. But we don't care about that if we don't have shops. This is the good part. Basically, you can find these. I definitely find them in Europe for quite cheap. In the UK, they're a little bit more expensive. And I think the UK can get around that sometimes because a lot of places don't ship to the UK. So if you can deal it out in the UK, then great. But generally speaking, honestly, I think even Costa Farms are rolling this out. So if you wanted to wait, you could wait longer. You could say that about every plant ever, right? You could say, I'll keep waiting another year. That's absolutely fine. But if you really wanted to get it, I think for a lot of people, this plant's actually now at the point where you could buy it, to be quite honest. The next plant, I've talked about this before in my Alocasia Rare Plant Index, but we have the Alocasia Frydek, the variegated type. I think if it's not variegated, its trade name is usually green velvet. So we're talking about the variegated form. Guys, these used to be so expensive. They've been steadily coming down, don't get me wrong. But as of now, I sometimes see people selling baby plants of these on Facebook. And I feel kind of like a little bit sorry for them, because if you go into most garden centers, you can get it really, really cheap, probably cheaper than what the people on Facebook are trying to sell them for. And that's not like a bad word on Facebook sellers. It's just they are dropping that fast. They're so easy to get. Now, I wanted one of these and I didn't get one, mainly because I value the rest of my plants. So although I would love one, I'm just a bit worried about the spider mites. And I have some alocasia in my cabinet that I don't want them to die. You know what I'm saying? I'm already spraying them every week with a systemic pesticide. So I don't want any problems. But great plant. You can get a million videos with care tips on this plant on the internet. So go figure. Everyone pretty much has one or wants one. So if it's something you've been thinking about, try it out. The next plant on this list, this is a really odd one to be cheap. I don't know. It's just, I have all the Anthurium to make cheap. This one just kind of surprised me because it's probably my least favorite. But we have Anthurium Magnificum. Now, the only reason I don't like it is because I think things like Crystallinum look way better. The only Magnificum I really liked was ironically, the Verde. So it's a form whereby there's no contrast really at all. The whole thing is green. A little bit like the Anthurium Dark Forgettii, right? That's just down to my personal taste. But I was actually really surprised to see this like really cheap, like one of the cheapest Anthuriums you can get. I don't know. I have no idea why they would pick that to make mass produce. And now, don't get me wrong, they are very tough. They're very, very tough. They're tough as nails, but I just don't think they're the prettiest, you know? But moving on from that, because I borderline dislike it that much that I'm not even willing to talk about it. Sorry, my hair is all over the place, guys. It's so humid in here. A surprise to me, sort of, was to see Amydrium medium silver and green on this list. I don't know how quickly these have come down, if I'm honest, because I've not been looking. It's more the fact that I'm now able to see them in mainstream shops, which means they've hit the Netherlands broker kind of system, and then they are really being churned out, if you know what I mean. These are nice plants, but you better be prepared for them to run. You better be prepared for them to run. It's hard to get them to just grow how you would expect them to. I think if you really want that kind of growth, you probably need to go for like a Rhaphidophora or something. But they are very nice plants. They're not worth it for everybody though. I think if you want one, ask around for people that own them and they'll give you their opinion on them, I think would be the best thing. Either on Instagram, like make a story or something, or go on a Facebook group and get advice from other people, because I'm not sure if you could get like easier things to grow. I don't know if I want to say easier things to grow. Just things with a better growth habit than these anyway. The next plant that is quite cheap, which I'm not really surprised at this, is a very sought after plant. We have the Philodendron gloriosum. Listen, I still love it. I don't care if it's cheap. It's an amazing, amazing plant. We absolutely love it. I think mainly the cheap ones I see are the regular form, so the veins are less pronounced. If you want the white vein, you're paying a little bit more. Personally, the white vein is nicer, and this is someone that likes more minimal stuff. This here, funny enough, is the regular form, and it's, although I like muted stuff, there's nothing quite like a white vein. There just isn't. So I would prefer that one, but I'm not entirely surprised to see gloriosum making the rounds. It is very tough. It's not for everyone. I get a lot of people saying like, listen, like, how are you keeping yours alive? I don't know what to say. I guess they like it a bit drier. They're on the drier end of aroids, at least for me personally. I don't know. Feed them well, I guess. Oh, the next one, which, can I understand this? I don't know. Philodendron Billietiae. It's not the first plant I would think of to make cheap, but hey, I'm glad it is, because it is a great plant. Not the quickest of growers. You might want to get some nice, fancy, like acrylic stakes that a lot of people get for alocasia for a little bit until it gets bigger. You know, help it out a bit. But very nice plant. I didn't put this on, but we do have the Atabapoense that is also kind of in the same category. But personally, I think this is nicer. I just think it's nicer. Lovely orange petioles, what more could you want? But that's very, very cheap now. Very, very cheap. The next plant I did see this coming due to demand, but I think this has to be disappointing people still. I've mentioned this before. This is Aglaonema Pictum Tricolor. The reason I think it disappoints people is the growth habit, because nobody expects it. Do you know why? Because everybody photographs it top down. And that's all good and well, guys. It's all good and well. But until you've grown one yourself, you will never quite understand what tends to happen. It basically turns into a palm tree, as in like a coconut palm tree. So you have stem and then leaves at the top. Not for everyone. I know a few people have really mastered how to get these looking bushy, but for most of us, it doesn't seem to work that way. I mean, if you're no different, feel free to tag me on Instagram, something like that. But generally speaking, that's how they are. That's how I used to get them into the shop as well to sell. Like, that's not even my bad care. That's how the supplier has grown them and then shipped them to me. So I would anticipate that is just one of the perils of this plant. But if you ever fancied it, give it a go. I would really hope that they are producing high quality ones and the tricolor is tricoloring. You can get bicolor as well, but honestly, for the price, if you're going to do it, just get a tricolor. Just get a tricolor. It's way better. It's the whole point. This next plant. Am I surprised? Not really, no. This is Monstera Obliqua. Listen, there was so much hype around it. People were going to want to produce this and grow it on. I still don't know if it's the best plant. I have kept mine actually, not because I really want to grow the plant, but because it was so important to me. As many of you'll know, with starting my shop and stuff like that, a lot of people even found me because of my Obliqua video. Like, it's had so much influence on my channel, I can't really not keep the plant out of respect to it. Plus, it is a cutting from the original Obliqua that I got, which was like, I think it was the first one in the UK for a long time. We're talking a long time ago. There will be naysayers on this video that say, no, they're everywhere. Yes, they are. In 2019, I promise, guys, I promise they weren't. But I keep him out of respect, really. I need to figure out where to put him because he's getting a bit big. He's not the happiest thing in the world. I think he's getting too much light. But yeah, these plants do like less light, actually. They're much happier in lower light. As soon as you put them in higher light, they start looking really ill. So there's a pro tip. But if you want to get one, absolutely, these things aren't going to get much cheaper than this. Quite honestly, so if you've waited all of this time, now is probably your time to get one. Are you looking to start a new business in 2025? Perhaps it's a new blog or a web shop, maybe even a portfolio, or you're opening up a new restaurant. The possibilities are endless with Squarespace. Squarespace is a one-stop shop to create your very own sleek and professional website built from a variety of modern and fully customizable templates. You don't need any technical knowledge whatsoever. I've been using Squarespace for years now. You guys know I love it, and I won't go anywhere else. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really invest enough time into SEO, which is search engine optimization. And if I had to go about the whole thing myself, it would take so much time to research even where to start, let alone the tools needed to do it. With Squarespace, everything is handled for me. Every website created is optimized for meta descriptions, sitemaps, and much more, making sure your new website shows up more often on search engines, which of course increases your potential reach. If any of this sounds good to you, then you can try Squarespace for yourself for absolutely free. You can check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Kaylee Ellen to save 10% off your first website or domain purchase. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Ooh, we have some Philodendron coming up, and we have all the Philodendron that used to be fancy. I know. So we have Philodendron Splendid, which is one of my favorites. This is a hybrid of Melanochrysum and Verrucosum. And guys, it's tough as nails. It is tough as nails. It sizes up quite well. It's not the easiest out of all of the Philodendron hybrids to size up, but I don't think you'd be disappointed if you got it. Out of all the Philodendron on here, actually, there's that and there's one other that I would probably pick that is really, really pretty. So there is that, and I think you can get them in like reasonable sizes. I don't think they're like super small or anything. I think you can get a good size plant for the money, which is really nice because they used to cost a bit. We then have Melanochrysum itself, which I could be wrong, but I feel like so many of us have fallen out of love with, and that's just because most people, unless you're a pro grower and you've got some kind of secret sauce, you're not getting these things to size up. And I think some people are resorting to buy them bigger because they are cheaper now. And a lot of people just give up. I've given up. I don't think I would even try again because, I don't know. I've got Philodendron Glorious, which is a hybrid of Melanochrysum and Gloriosum, and that sizes up great and it makes me feel like a badass. Like, as much as I love the way Melanochrysum looks, and it's one of the most beautiful looking philodendrons, it's so striking, it's got presence, it's immaculate, I can't fault it. I think a lot of us are just like, yeah, I'll admire that from afar, because no. But it's on the list, guys. And it's cheap. So it's of no surprise that the Monstera constellation is on this list. I'm not going to spend too long on it because it has been steadily declining for a long time. And I think now's your time. You can get a Monstera constellation of nearly any size. So you can get it of like a teeny plug. You can get it in like a 12 centimeter pot. You can get a big one. You can get cuttings. Like you name it, you can get it. If mine is right here and he's so big and beautiful. That's how big he is. Look at him. He's amazing. I'm not sure how old he is. He was supposed to be a creme brulee. All right, I guess there's more variegation on him, but personally, I don't buy into the whole creme brulee thing. I think for the most part, he's just a tie. I'm just calling him a tie. If I was to sell him, I'd probably sell him as a tie. But if you've wanted one of these, I really think now is your time. And honestly, when these things get big, they're an absolute delight to grow. So I do recommend them. If you've been sleeping on it and you've got a really nice large space in a corner, I think this is the year of the tie for you. I think you should try it out. Only if you've got the space though, Jesus Christ. The next plant has also been declining a lot, but it is now to the point where you can get a really sizable plant for like £10. What's that, like $15 or something like that? Really sizable though. That is Anthurium clarinervium. Look, I still love that plant. I would still own it. I would literally still own it and grow it in this house. I just haven't really come across one. And I guess at the moment, I need to make sure I can fit in all the stuff I actually have in the house when it gets bigger. But honestly, if I had a spot for it, I would still buy it today because I think it's gorgeous. And as far as Anthurium go, it's a really cheap way of getting something that is very, very dark, because these things can grow so dark that they could be nearly black. And I think it's worth it. They're a gorgeous plant. They are a little bit more susceptible to things like bacterial rust or bacterial blight or whatever, but it's all treatable. You can buy things to treat it. It's not the end of the world. I always say with these things, like, prevention is better than cure. Have a routine. You'll be fine, honestly. Really, really good plants. Can't recommend them enough. So the next plant I've only owned one of, and I've never really had the desire to get another one. I don't know why. But the Ring of Fire, the Philodendron Ring of Fire, is now unbelievably cheap. We love. And it's making the rounds. I do like it. It's just, I think that plant, if it stayed as like a little bush, I would love it even more, right? And if it just got bushier and bushier and bushier, imagine that. That would be gorgeous. But it's the fact it's a climber, and it just means I have to commit to something on a pole without big plush leaves. So I'm going to see a lot of pole. And I don't want plants where I see a lot of pollen. I know I have some moss poles behind me. You'll see them scattered about, right? But most of the time when I have something on a pole, the thing that is on the pole, you're not going to notice the moss pole. Do you know what I'm saying? It's really big. And for things like Ring of Fire, it's not for me. But so many people wanted these. I'm so pleased to be able to say that they are affordable. So if that's something you've been looking for, you might just find it. Oh, the next plant, I'm really happy that this is cheap now. So we have the Philodendron L Choco Red, also known as, which one is it? Is it Roseocataphyllum or Fibrocataphyllum? I think it's Roseocataphyllum, but I'm just going to call it El Choco Red because honestly, most people know it as that. So I'm not going to change the name now for the sake of the video. Honestly, guys, amazing plants. And yes, they are tough as long as you don't screw around with them. Okay, I'm not going to bore you. I've given you countless stories of me propagating them in the shop, checking on them. They're fine. I list them for sale. The next day, they've just rotted their roots. And all I did was check. I lifted a bit of lecker out of the way. So that's fun. But honestly, if you get one that is already established, I'm sure it would withstand being converted to like semi-hydro from the soil or whatever. Just take your time. It's fine. I think they are so worth it. And I've had those on a moss pole, and honestly, they can size up enough where you don't really see the moss pole much. So I would say that was kind of worth it. Really nice plant, guys. The red that it comes through. Oh, genuinely incredible. I'm sad that mine didn't make it over here because it was certainly not tissue cultured. The genetics were really good and it was really dark and the leaves came through like an emergent red, but they were really red. And I'm just sad that it didn't make it, but I couldn't bring everything, Jesus Christ. So the next plant on the list is the Philodendron Jose Bono, another plant I'm really, really happy that is cheap because funny enough, I have a hybrid of Jose Bono, but I don't have Jose Bono. In this very corner, I have a hybrid of Jose Bono and Tenu or Sharonii. I don't know if they're the same plant. I don't know if anybody ever told me. They could be the same plant, I don't know. I know it to be Tenu anyway, and that's what it was sold to me as. But the Jose Bono is quite gorgeous, and it is another plant where if you want variegation, but you don't want to worry about it, you just want it to be just sort of there, a little bit like with the Thai constellation, this is maybe the plant for you. It does get really nice paddly leaves. It can grow quite compact, this one, so it's not going to be that leggy. The internodal space, so the space between the nodes on like the main stem of the plant, very, very small. So you get long, wide-ish paddly leaves with bits of variegation on, a lot like Thai constellation, and you won't be super leggy. Obviously, if yours is super leggy, I would argue there's not enough light because generally speaking, they do grow very compact. Another really nice plant to have. Really, really nice. The next plant surprises me a little bit, and I have to chuckle because there are people that have spent so much money on these. Although you could say that for a lot of plants, to be fair. That's being nitpicky. You could say that for a lot of plants. But there's people who have bought these for thousands. There's people that have tried to sell these for thousands. This is the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma variegata. And you can kind of get it now. I can't say, as I'm making this video, that is the same for like every single place in the world. But for the UK and EU, it kind of is. You can find this now. You should be able to find a very decent variegated specimen, I would hope. And happy days. For me, I've all but lost mine, but it's kind of good that I know I could get it back if I wanted to. It didn't, when it was established and the variegation was balanced and I didn't screw around with it, it grew beautifully. But as soon as I started to do stuff to it, it just started to dive. So I've got mixed opinions on care, but in a general sense, it's a tough plant. And if you bought it, I don't think you're going to have problems, basically. But for the lovers of this plant that have admired it from afar, really, for a long time, I do think now is your chance. These could get cheaper though. If they've been tissue cultured, they could get cheaper. So if you want to wait, feel free to wait. The next plant, oh my goodness, I've never owned one of these. They were always way too expensive. Not only were they too expensive, people weren't even selling them when I wanted them. I don't really know why. This is Philodendron Polypoidiodes. Literally, it was too rare for me to even find at one point, and here we are now. It's in shops. Sizable plants as well. We love to see it. I wouldn't get it now. Again, I've got so many things in here. Everything kind of has a place before I even put it here, if you know what I mean. I've got stuff upstairs. I've just bought, if you caught it on Instagram, I've just bought a new cabinet for the living room because that cabinet's literally full to the brim. Because as soon as I start propagating one thing, the cabinet's now full. So I wouldn't add it, even though I wanted it for a long time. But if I ever had a vibe change and I wanted something like that, then I would. But again, very affordable, considering they used to cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and you couldn't even get them for sale. So there you go, guys. Next, we have the beautiful Anthurium warraquinum, also known as Queen Anthurium. Hey, it is like the less expensive stuff on this list. Don't get me wrong. Like, we started cheaper than what we're now moving down. But nonetheless, guys, great plant. And I think if you've really lusted after one, I would maybe buy one roundabout now. I would actually recommend you got one from a younger plant. Now, this is going to surprise people probably, but I often find that younger plants are actually tougher than older plants. So if you can, I would get a really, like a small one, even post TC, whatever you want. You don't have to listen to me, obviously, but I do find that the younger things are just tougher. And then, of course, it's going to grow in your conditions and it's going to immediately adapt just a little bit better as it's growing older. So just a bit of advice. Why not? But if you can get these things to grow, great. I've had some problems with mine, bacteria mainly. But I think the bacteria that broke out, it's hit her, but it hit nearly every Anthurium. So I don't actually know where it started. I'm actually not sure. I fixed it now, but obviously she's bearing the battle scars, so I'll have to wait for a new leaf. But if you can get these things to grow, literally, absolutely. So I guess this is sort of similar to that. We have the Anthurium Villenoarum. I was shocked, gonna be honest, I was shocked to see this because the size of the specimens you can get of this plant, by the way, you can get some big boys if you ever fancied it. I didn't find these that easy, but then again, the conditions I got them in, might not have been perfect. I don't really know. It was a long time ago. And I think the reason these guys have probably been mass produced, because they definitely have been, I guess it's just due to the way they look. It's reminiscent of a Queen Anthurium, sort of. The growth habit is completely different. It's more stumpy, but I kind of get it. And it is a nice plant. I've got other things I'm looking for, so I probably wouldn't go for it. But yeah, you can get some sizable specimens of that one. So, we've got some hanging long boys, which y'all love. We're starting off with the Anthurium Vittarifolium. Now, I need you to kind of keep your eyes and your ears peeled for the next 2 to 3 plants because I'm going to go over the 3 belt types and sort of the differences between them in case you want to get one. They're all a similar price. They're starting, I would argue that the order I'm going to show you them is the order of the price increase. So this one's going to be the cheapest, then they're going to gradually increase in general, I would say. So we have the Vittarifolium. Really, really nice plant. The leaf texture is very rough. It's quite crispy, but it's very belt-like Anthurium, and it's really tough, guys. The roots on these are unreal. You can really let this thing dry out. The roots are so tuberous. They resemble, if you've seen them, an Anthurium clarinervium's roots. And honestly, I promise you, not all Anthurium are actually created equal. Okay? Some Anthurium don't have tough roots like that at all, but there's something real special about clarinervium and, for example, Vittarifolium. The roots are incredible. So that is something that you might want. If you've got the opportunity to see all of these in person, it would be way better for you because I think you're going to make your choice a lot better. This is something where images and videos aren't going to completely do you justice. It's going to be a bit of a struggle. Hey ho. The next plant on from that are the plants that I have. This is Anthurium pallidiflorum. Again, sort of similar price. Now, the main difference between this and the Vittarifolium is I think the leaves are a little bit more put together. When it grows, it's a little bit more demure. Everything's a little bit more tapered. It hangs a little bit nicer. It's more velvety. The care is almost the same. I would say for me, the pallidiflorum is maybe a little bit more difficult, but generally speaking, it's much of a muchness. It's down to texture, I would say, at that point, and maybe the overall vibe. These definitely hang down a lot better than what a Vittari does. Vittari's a little bit more, it's got more volume, if you've got like a cowlick or something in your hair and you can't flatten it down. Vittari's a little bit more like that. Pallidiflorum is more like the flattened vibes that I unfortunately have with my hair. So that's the main difference. The third plant, which I'll be honest, if I got a good deal on this, I'd probably take one. I would sell off a pallidiflorum and get one of these because the next plant is, most of you will have guessed this, is the Anthurium Wendlingeri, or Wendlingeri, whichever it is. So basically, guys, I can't quite tell the texture. I think I've had one in the shop. Did I not get it for a friend, I think? I can't remember. I don't think it was for me. I think I bought it in for someone, but it died and it was a baby and I don't remember anything about the texture. But most people get this for the blooms, and it's why I would get it for the blooms. So the blooms unlike any of the others, are this gorgeous, long, dangling, like corkscrew curl shape. And they are absolutely stunning. So I completely get why you would want one of those. And as I say, I would totally sell one of mine for one of those because the value is borderline the same. It's not much different. So I have a small, which can you see it hangs down over here, and then I have a large off camera. So I'm open to swaps actually. If anybody's got one in the UK and they think, hey, I could swap, I would totally swap you a pallid for a Wendlingeri. Why not? Why the hell not? So the next plant is another anthurium. There's a lot of anthuriums. We have the Anthurium luxurians. There are two different types. I think there's the regular and there is a platinum form that is more blue. I don't really have a preference. I do think that the platinum form looks quite nice when the new leaves are like a bronzy colour and then they harden off to like a cool tone colour. I think that's quite nice. I'm not surprised these have been tissue cultured really, because I remember them being quite tough. I know there was mixed opinions on them at the time. I just took them to be quite tough. And when I used to say things were tough, I know you guys probably know this, but like I wouldn't just have one plant. I'd have like 20 and they would take a beating. So if like 20 survived, I'd know it was probably tough. Do you know what I mean? I would never tell you something based off one plant. It would normally be off at least 10 usually, unless it was something really bougie, then maybe like 5, but still. But yep, really nice one. I probably wouldn't get another one. I want some of the more dark, sexy, contrasty, velvety ones, but it's a very nice plant. The next plant is a little bit, again, we're going down the list, it's a little bit more expensive, but I was surprised. Can you see it? I don't know if I wiggle that. No, probably not. It's my giant Dean McDowell. And you can get these off size, so maybe that's why it's expensive. You can't really get small ones. I don't know. But I was kind of surprised to see it at the price that it was. Now, I think if you went private, so you didn't get this from a shop, then you could probably get it really cheap. You probably get like a 1-leaf cutting, a baby. You could get all sorts of stuff. I don't suppose this is actually maybe quite as expensive as some of the shops are making it, but in general, it's quite cheap. It's a hybrid of, if you didn't know, it's a hybrid of Philodendron gloriosum and Philodendron pasterzanum. Unfortunately, all the bad bits are from the pasterzanum. It's a bit gangly. It's got really long petioles, and they like the petioles themselves don't even always grow straight. They just grow with like a wave in them. If you've had a McDowell, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think pasterzanum's a little bit similar. Like they've got a mind of their own, so it has to be whether you vibe with it. I took mine back from the unit just because I loved it so much. Yeah, I really can't show you this. You'll have seen it on videos and gone, oh my goodness, that's big. So I do love it, but it's not for everyone. But I do think if you've got a corner where other crawlers, like you want to put a crawler there, but other crawlers won't grow, try a Dean McDowell, because I'm probably going to guess it's going to grow for you, honestly. And then to deal with the gangliness, just get some canes, tie it up, get some stakes, make it work, honestly, because they are quite movable. So, okay, the next plant I have covered on last Friday's video, and it is the Anthurium Michelle. A lot of people are shocked, thrilled, shooketh, gagging, because this is now more on the affordable end of things, because it's basically a red crystallinum. It's a form, or of a version, I should say, of red crystallinum. It's nice, but as I covered in my other video, it's not my cup of tea. It's very close, in my opinion, to the NSE crystal, which I do have. So I'm not that bothered about having it because I have something so similar. Whether it's better or worse, I don't really care. It's too similar. But if you've wanted something of the sort, feel free. If you've got a crystallinum and you're like, ooh, I could easily replace that crystallinum with something a bit more bougie, then this is absolutely the plant for you. But I won't be getting it. I have my eyes on other red crystals, which, by the way, if you have not seen that video and you want to know some really good examples of some really red crystallinum, then feel free to go and watch that. So the next plant is oh goodness, I've got in so much trouble for this plant over the years. This is the Philodendron strawberry shake. And oh my goodness, I've insulted this plant and I've had people literally coming for me. I still don't like it, right? Yeah, it's cheap, but if you actually look at what's offered for sale, it looks just as bad as anybody has ever grown it, okay? I had the same opinion about Pink Princess. I love the Pink Princess. It's gorgeous in theory, but when you actually come to growing it, no, not really. The strawberry shake follows the same thing. It's nice if you can get away growing Pink Princess and yours looks just incredible, then great, go for it. But honestly, you're signing up for more of the same stuff. So it's kind of up to you. I don't even know what the secret is to getting them to size up, because I don't even think feeding them would work. Maybe it would. Let me know if you know. let me know what your vibe is, but it's not for me. It's not for me. So the next plant, we're going back to Anthurium yet again, and I am shocked, but not that shocked, that the next plant is on the list, and that is the Anthurium Delta Force. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, wow, that's not that cheap. Listen, some places it is. I saw a plug-sized Delta Force the other day. I think it was on a European website for about £40 or €40. That is cheap, right? Of course they were going to get tissue cultured. I tissue cultured them. Everyone's tissue culturing them. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is. It's just how things work these days. And I know so many people have mixed opinions on whether that's good or not. But at the end of the day, do you want cheap plants or not, guys? Because if you want cheap plants, tissue culture, okay? If you don't, go and buy cuttings from the source and seeds and all of this sort of stuff and go the hard route. That's fine. But I get so many people complaining about the fact it's affordable and they don't want it anymore. And I think in that situation, not to be that gal, but I think you have to look at yourself and you think to yourself, right, why did I actually want that? Did I want it because I wanted the plant? Or did I want it because it was expensive and it would be cool to have? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so many of my plants I've kept, even though they're considered really affordable. Like, my collection is really mixed. It's actually, so many of these plants are considered really cheap now, but I still love them because I loved them originally. So just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind when you either appreciate tissue culture or hate it. It's making things accessible. But yeah, you can get these really affordable. I think if you really want a cutting, you're going to have to know someone that has an actual plant. But otherwise, you're just going to have to be fine with TC because you're not really going to be able to tell the difference anyway. The next plant on the list, I'm a little bit shocked. And I had a feeling this would go to TC because it's large form Monstera. It's going to go to TC. This is the Monstera White Monster. Now, I have one. It's absolutely stunning. We love it. Everyone loves it. It's beautiful. I actually do recommend them. And they are affordable. They're still expensive, okay? I think in England they were listed for low triple digits for a small established plant. You can get cuttings of that for less, at least in the UK. You can get it for late double digits. I'm not saying that's super cheap, but you've got to remember how much this thing was. I don't even know how much it was when I bought it in because I think Ben handled that sale. So you'd have to ask Ben how much it was. But when I got that one in, and I do have cuttings of that one because that was pre-TC, it was years ago, that was expensive. So it's another one of these things where we should really rejoice that these things are becoming affordable, right? But if you want my opinion on whether to get one, I brought this into the house wondering whether I'd love it or not, because I remember saying to you guys for the longest time, do I like it? Do I not? I don't know. Look, I love it. I think it took it to getting more mature for me to really love it, but I absolutely adore it. So I do think you should get one if you can. I know I've covered this before, but a lot of people ask me do you cut them? Do you do anything to preserve the variegation? No, I don't. Literally, I did a growth video, an update video a couple of weeks ago now. You'll see on that video, it's not cut at all. So I don't do that. And I think a proper white monster, I don't think you do that, but don't take my word for it, guys. My only experience of white monster is obviously the one that I have. A couple of cuttings upstairs that are from, some part of this plant anyway. I think I cut it once and then I've taken cuttings from that as well. So yeah, limited experience, but absolutely worth it. I think that's it for this list. There are more, guys. There are more plants that are affordable. Of course there are. I'm pretty sure things like the Philodendron Whippleway were becoming more affordable. That was an insanely expensive plant. There's loads. And to be honest, in general, everything is becoming more affordable. But I just thought in today's video, I would pick out a few for you guys to look at. And if there's been something that you've had your eye on for a long time, maybe now this year is the time. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, guys. Please leave any comments you'd like in the description. If you like this video, please leave a like down below. And if you'd like to see any of this content, namely as well the red crystalline video if you're interested, then feel free to click